It's a week where I don't have to think about anything and I'm going to have 7,000 calories a day.
I gained 20 pounds or something on my 5-day vacation.
You can't build an all-in life with a half-in mindset.
If you're on your phone during a set, it's not easy enough.
There are a lot of things that are hard, but they're rewarding.
I've got a vacation coming up and I'm a little nervous about it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I am fired up.
This is Motivation Monday. We're here to get you motivated as well as answer your questions, share some of our favorite quotes, and we have an exciting announcement today. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a big one, and I promise you're going to be fired up. Actually, we have two announcements. It's a pretty special day. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into our first question out of the mailbag. And that is, I've got a vacation coming up and I'm a little nervous about it. How should I approach it so that I can enjoy my time but not come back regretting it all?
Amazing question. This is everything, right? Like, I just know so many people have been on a vacation and they just regretted it. And that is not a fun feeling, right? They said, hey, I had an amazing time, but I'm 7 pounds heavier and I feel horrible and my stomach is just hurting and I feel like I'm back at square one after 12 weeks of dieting. And so the biggest thing within this question is I love the concept of just enjoying your time, but at the same time, not going above and beyond, not going crazy, right? You still want to be able to enjoy what the resort, what the place, what the cottage, wherever it is that you are has to offer. And I'm a huge fan of that. And what I do is I really help my clients get ready for that. I give them extra calories to work with. We work towards the specific date that they have planned out. And that is super, super important. But the thing I have to leave you with, and my most important takeaway, is just pick the stuff you value. Pick the things that you're looking forward to and that you genuinely enjoy. But don't go in with the mindset of just like, well, it's a week where I don't have to think about anything and I'm going to have 7,000 calories a day and 13 drinks. I know so many people that do this and they're just like, why did I do that? Why did I have to go so above and beyond? Why couldn't have I just enjoyed the time where I was out in nature and I was on a beautiful beach and just played volleyball and just went for a walk? Like, to me, that's what it's all about within reason. And so for me, looking back on some of my most successful times, I spent a lot of time being active. I went on consistent morning walks. I went out, there was a beach volleyball in the resort. So I did that daily and it was amazing. Even breakfast, it was funny because like the last trip that I went on, it was like a little, we go on different trips. We go to Florida all together, but the one where it was like a bit more of a challenging one, I remember like the only thing they had was a buffet there. And I just remember having my Greek yogurt every morning with like an egg white omelet. And I felt so good because for me, I don't really value, the croissants and like all the crazy stuff that can happen at breakfast. I would much rather value a nice dinner out. And that's what I did. So I try to choose my battles, right? I try to choose the things I value. And that's where, even when we talk about going to restaurants, it'd be nice to be able to say, hey, I got 7 drinks and, I've got everything put together and like, the desserts and this and that. And my biggest message to all of you lately has just been choose the stuff you value, plan accordingly, enjoy, the finer moments and not needing to have like tons and tons of stuff. And that's what I would typically try to do is just have a little bit of extra calories to work with and just pick and choose, right? Because that's where I think a lot of people go wrong is they're just like, you know what, I'm just going to have everything that I haven't been able to have for the last little while. And they just come back regretting it, which is never a fun feeling. So yeah, just wanted to share some thoughts on that. And I hope it helps you out.
Yeah, it's all a battle of trade-offs to me. And I think one of the best things you can do is really think about it and spend some time, because you can go away and you can try to pack your food. You can get a hotel room where you can cook all your food. You can say no to dinners. You can say no to going out. You can maximize your sleep, and you could have it be this really amazing time where you push forward, you lose no progress, and you actually make progress. Of course, there are drawbacks to that. You're missing out on a lot of the fun foods. Maybe you're missing out on some of the experiences, and like there's a cost to that as well. So I think there's two different sides here, and you need to really balance what's best for you. I know some people say, I really value the break. I like to eat what I want to eat. I still make good decisions, but I'm really good at bouncing back and it's no big deal to me. And they feel okay with that. That's something I avoid, because to me, if I do that personally, I know the scale is going to be 10, 15 pounds heavier. I'm going to have to work so hard to get after it. I'm going to feel really uncomfortable. There's actually someone from our gym who went away and he's like, you'd be disgusted with me. I gained 20 pounds or something on my 5-day vacation. And we're like, what the heck? And I brought it up to one of my clients that was at the gym with me. I said, this guy's an animal. He did it. And like that guy is a beast in his own right. Like he is really active. He'll do Ironman. So like he'll get back on the wagon, so to say. But once again, there's a big cost of that. And my client actually said to him, he's like, but you feel horrible after. And like, it's so hard to get to it. And he's like, well, you're not wrong. He's like, it was a really hard couple of weeks to get back into flow. So to me, it's like, is the price worth what you're willing to pay? And I've used this analogy before. Like, would I pay $1,000 for a t-shirt? No. Would I pay $1,000 for a t-shirt if I was out in public in like a museum and there was only one t-shirt and didn't have a shirt on for some reason? It's really awkward. Like, I guess not the greatest analogy. Or I was really cold. Probably I would. So I think that's where for you need to say, what price am I willing to pay for this event? And we were talking about this today as well. Like to me, I can pay a very small price on vacation by doing the things Kyle mentioned, getting up early, getting a big walk, getting a workout before the sun's up, chaining that with a healthy breakfast, maybe having one fun breakfast when I do, having a really hearty, healthy lunch. I can save some money. I already have momentum built. I feel fit. I feel happy. Then at night, I can have more of a fun dinner. I can go out and maybe I can be 10, 20% over my calories or hit them on the head and effectively only have a tiny variance from my normal routine. Plus I obviously am feeling relaxed, I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling good, and I'm going to feel rested as a result of that. Like to me, I find there is a balance in between, and I think that scale is going to be entirely different for everyone. But it's really just important, like you analyze what you value. If you're just getting a drink with every meal, or you're just being overly indulgent and just stuffing your face every single meal so you feel horrible, like there's a cost there too, because you're not going to want to go out and be active. You're going to want to sleep in. You're not going to want to get up. And like these things can chain and be negative. And I think there's supporting rules you can have. So whenever I travel, I have a rule. If it's under 30 minutes, I walk. And it's one of my favorite rules ever because I get so many steps and you really get to see the area you're in. Even if it's like just the most random area, it's cool, the random things you come by, and you save a ton of money on Ubers. It's absolutely crazy. And like I said, it's so nice because you discover a lot. It makes it more fun. It's easy to get 15, 20,000 steps, where if I'm in a small surplus of my calories of 10 to 20, that can kind of sometimes level out from that extra movement, and I can mitigate the damage of that trip. Additionally, I love to always aim for high protein breakfast. I try not to snack, and if I do, it's only protein snacks. And then I try to have that more traditional, fun, healthy lunch, and then I try to have something a little more fun with dinner. And it's all push and pull. You can pick your days. You could have a day where you have a couple of drinks. I'm going to be dry the rest of the trip. Like there's so many different things you can do, but right away, if you're doing those things and you're getting a lift in every day, like it's going to be hard for it to be a really bad detrimental trip where it's going to beat you up. And for a lot of people, that cost is so high because they'll fully follow out a routine. They'll gain a ton of weight. They'll never take it off. And a month later, they'll say, oh, things were so good until I went away on that trip.
Yeah. And I think of a lot of the different experiences I've had. And I was even just thinking of New York, like just about 2 years ago. And I was like, you know what? I had a great time. Like we got tons of steps, 20 to 25,000 daily. And I just remember I enjoyed like some of the fun things that were there. Because once again, my point here is never to be the person who says, you know what? Go bring your meal prep containers, go weigh every single thing, and just get a meal delivery service to your door with like only protein options. Like that is not ever the type of person I am, right? And I don't believe any of you should be doing that if you're like, hey, I'm in a different situation for a week and I'm really excited for this place, right? Like obviously it gets different where like when we go to Florida for a couple months, it's like we have to lock in because it's like if we just go above and beyond every day, it's like you can easily put on lots and lots of weight if you just don't stay locked in, right? But looking back at that trip specifically, I was like, hey, I tried the bagels. I tried Joe's Pizza, which was like supposed to be the greatest thing ever, but it was within balance, right? It was within reason. And I came back feeling amazing. Say, hey, you know what? I was able to enjoy all these cool places that everyone talks about. And to me, that's what it's all about is, you know what? I feel good about everything. I had great times. I had great memories, but that wasn't the core of it. It wasn't just food, right? And I know a lot of places, depending on where you go, there's a lot of, cool culture towards it and it's fun and it's exciting. You go to Europe or wherever it is, like there's always fun things, but it's just within reason, right? And that's my biggest takeaway. But even it's funny because another side note I had was that the person that I am is always, I like to exercise. I like to move. And I think even like looking back to, previous vacations where I'd be up early, just hitting a dumbbell workout in the room or in the hotel gym. They don't have like tons of stuff, but I want to maintain that consistency. Some people who don't understand, they'd be like, oh, like poor guy, like having a workout on a vacation. I'm like, I've been talking to my clients a lot about identity and it's that that's who I am. The person that, whether I'm moving or whether there's a baby that, arrived, I'm still trying to move. I'm still trying to feel great. Whether I'm on vacation, whether I'm traveling, whether I'm doing whatever, is I want to feel good. I want to eat well to the best of my ability. I want to move my body. I feel so much better. And I get a sense of peace from being able to say, hey, I took care of myself and I feel really good. So whatever's in front of me the rest of the day I have planned, I move my body. I had a great breakfast. I'm making really good decisions and still having fun. I feel so much better. And that's just who I am, and that's my identity. And a big reason why I feel like people don't succeed is because whether a trip comes up, a move comes up, a promotion or whatever it is, they're like 0 or 100, and then that's it. Like they don't know that they can go down to 70 and say, hey, I'm not doing my full workout, but I'm going to still do something. I'm going to have my coach modify. I have a lot of my clients who say, hey, I've got a trip, and this week I put together a nice body weight and band workout for them, and they're really excited and they're going to feel good. The next week they're not going to be too sore. It's not going to be like them trying to build a routine and get back into it, and they're going to feel amazing. Yeah, the weigh-ins may be a tad bit higher, you're in a different situation, right? And that's fine, but they didn't do what a lot of other people did. And this is something important to remember, is your identity is that person who's, fit, the person who makes good decisions but still has flexibility, the person who eats good food but doesn't have restrictions, the person that moves their body but doesn't feel like they need to be perfect. This is how you succeed for every trip, for every milestone, for everything that goes on. And I'm so passionate about this.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the challenge of it as well, like trying to see like how can I actually still stay on track or find progress despite being in a different situation. And I think when you do that, you actually enjoy things more. It's like when you're at a buffet, you don't value each individual thing of food. It's just excess, and you just kind of, it all becomes a blur. Whereas when you go out for like a slice of pizza or something special, that's always nice as well. And you can always pick your poisons, right? If you like a really big meal, enjoy the meal, maybe skip the dessert. If you like to have a few drinks on a beach, have the drinks, but have a really hearty, healthy meal behind it. Like it's all about finding balance and really finding what's best. And that's where sustainability comes from, is having a plan, making some sacrifice so ultimately you can make yourself feel best. But those are our thoughts, and that was a phenomenal question. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes, and we'll start with Coach Kyle's.
And my quote this week is, you can't build an all-in life with a half-in mindset. And this came from, I was listening the other day, it was a Chris Williamson, maybe it was an interview or podcast or something like that. And he was just saying and talking about the concept of how many people are half in and half out. And I just thought it was very interesting, because he was saying that the reason a lot of people do this is when you're half in, if you end up failing, it doesn't really matter. You just say, you know what, like, I didn't really want it anyways. I didn't really try. When you also, if you succeed on the other end, it's also not that great, because then you don't feel like you earned it, right? Like if you happen to, kind of want to reach a milestone and you hit it, you're like, oh, well, you kind of feel like a fraud. You kind of feel like, I didn't deserve this. I didn't really work for it. And to me, this is one of the worst things that like anybody can ever do. Like, I mean, it's still better than not trying, but I just don't think it's the best approach. I love the feeling of saying, you know what? I'm all in. Like when we're going to build up this podcast, when we're going to make our YouTube videos, when I'm going to commit to a strength journey or a powerlifting journey, or me helping a client or whatever it is, like the satisfaction, at least like if I fail on something, a goal, I can at least say, you know what? I gave it my all. I truly did. I put my best foot forward and I feel great about it. And when I succeed, it feels so much better, because I'm like, I worked for this. I put in the days, I put in the hours, I showed up, I didn't skip a session, I did all this stuff. And that's where I'd say most people end up struggling on their journey, because they're kind of 50-50. They're like, you know what? I told one friend about it, so like they kind of call me out, but I didn't make it clear to other people, because I don't want them to know that, because if I fail, and they're going to call me out, they're going to laugh at me. And like, I don't want people to know that I'm trying to lose this weight and try to reach this milestone. So whatever it is you're doing, I promise you, you will have 100% success rate if you say, you know what? When I give it my all, for 90 days, I want to lose 20 pounds. You will 100% lose 20 pounds if you're all in. If you're 50-50 and you're like, you know what, the weekends are bad, but then the week's good, you're 50-50. Like there's a 50% chance. And even if you get it, you're like, oh, well, whatever. Like, it doesn't mean as much to you. And when you fail, you're like, cool, well, like whatever, nobody knew about it, so I'm good anyway. So do not be that person. Go all in. Whatever you're doing, you will always have a higher success rate, and you'll feel so much better from it.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot lately as to why clients succeed or don't succeed, or why people succeed or don't succeed. And I think half wanting something is very dangerous, right? Like it's like if if you half do it, you're not in a good place. If I half change my tires on my car, I'm only gonna have two tires and I'm gonna crash. And in our journey, it's really important you establish that why. And there's an exercise we love called 7 layers deep. And it's why do you want something? And then you do it. And then it's okay, why do you want that? And then you go another layer deep. And you really get to the core of what you want. And Kyle has a great resource for that we can link, like a website. It literally is just a simple website that'll ask you why 7 times. But as silly as it is, it's effective to do, because when your why is big enough, it's easier to actually be all in, right? So if it's night, you've hit your calories, and you go hunting in your fridge and you see something yummy, if you don't have a big enough why, you'll eat that thing. If you're like, no, I'm dialed, this is so important to me, I'm all in, it's so much easier to be like, I don't need this, I'm not going to do it. And obviously there's other tips and tricks you can use to do that, but oftentimes that's a differentiator between success and not succeeding, is being all in, truly wanting it, because a lot of us will be all in 60% of the time, and that other 40 can really wash away the progress you would have had from that 60. So like Kyle said, especially if you want to achieve like a big milestone, or if you have a really tight time frame, it's easier to be all in. But if you can reframe your mindset to be all in with a sustainable and healthy approach, like that's how you can really have your cake and eat it too, in that sense, because you can have the ability to actually be all in but have it be realistic. And that's a big tenet of what we've designed our coaching program around too. So just a thought, and it's good to ask yourself, like, do you actually want what you're saying, or are you just kind of wishing for it? You're putting it out there but you're not serious about taking action on it. But now I'm going to jump into my quote, which I really like, and that is, life ain't about drawing out the living part. It's about making what you do while you're alive matter. And I think you can take this on a lot of different angles, but even today I said to Kyle, like, hey, down for some biking? And it was leg day. I know he had volleyball, and I know he's a little scared, but he's like, let's do it. Because last week we went biking, I took us on the wrong route, and we went like for like an hour just uphill for like an hour mountain biking. We haven't gone in a while, and they're pretty intense trails, and it like destroyed me. That night I was just laying down, I'm like, my legs are shot. And then of course my kids are like, let's go on the trampoline. I'm like, no, please no. I did it anyways, but it was tough. But I even said to him, and we've been reflecting on it, last year we kept saying we got to get out mountain biking. We used to go after we'd podcast, and we'd always say, oh, we got to go. And then before you know it, we went out, I think towards the end of the season, it was like kind of cold and there was leaves everywhere. And we're like, well, shoot. And we never went again. So we went like once. Like, it's amazing how it can slip away. And I think it's just easy to go through the motions and say, oh, I'm going to be tired from filming amazing podcasts and putting all my energy out there, and I had all this going on, like I'll skip it, and just going through the motions. Instead, it's like, how can I make every day count? How can I do fun things? And even with that, I think it's so hard getting out there and going like mentally to drive out there to get started. But once you do, after, I'm like, why don't I do this more? Like, this is so fun. This is the best. It's great activity. It's free. Like, just win. But a lot of time it's that friction. So I think it's a good reminder too, to like say, like, what can you do while you're alive to make it matter? You can take it on other angles too. And even for us, I think like having that deeper why. So with our coaching, like, I just love my whole thing, and it's always been, is that fitness and health is relatively easy when you know what you're doing, and it's very easy to succeed no matter your circumstance. And I put that to the test, and I started becoming a coach and coaching people, and I've helped person after person, and before you know it, we have over 5,500 transformations, and it's something I'm really proud of. And to me, that means a lot, because I like to say everyone is a one. And I was talking to one of my clients about this, and it's so easy to think, like, especially in media for us, like, we'll be like, oh, we only got 900,000 YouTube views this month, like, and we'll be upset about that. When you consider like potentially 900,000 people, obviously some will watch a couple of videos, but have watched our video, and like the sheer mass of what that is, it's almost like mind breaking, right? So it's very easy to ignore the ones in there, like the individual person. But even with our coaching, we've stayed really true to the core fundamentals of what makes it work. And we do video check-ins back and forth every week. These aren't live. We do these over an app. It's called Marco Polo, if you're curious. But how it works is, like, I would send my video to my coach, Kyle. I would go through questions about my week, where I'm struggling, what's going well. Kyle will look at my spreadsheet, have all my data, have the live content of that video. And then because you can send it whenever you want, whenever's convenient to you, which is fantastic, Kyle will respond to you and give you all the info you need actionably. And like, it's such a different level when you're face to face with someone. You can build a relationship. You want to hold that person accountable. It's just absolutely awesome. And the reason I bring this up is, like, to me, that's why my coaching is so important, because I can actively help people succeed. And one of my clients was saying how one of her friends was jealous that she had such a good coach because one of her friends, like they could test like that they feel that there was some AI potentially in their programming. And I mentioned before we were at like this coaching business conference, and a lot of them were saying like this one big coach was saying, all my clients, when they send me the responses, we do it over email, we do it over text. I put it into ChatGPT and I've trained it to talk like me, and I send that reply, and I only have to spend a minute coaching each client every week. And I just thought it was horrible because I'm like, people are paying you, they're trusting you. And then when they don't succeed, they feel like they're the problem, they're the failure when they're not actually getting the care they need. And that was my example too about like not just getting by or not just maximizing for money or something like that, but actually doing something of impact and making your time matter. Because if I can say I've helped 5,500 people be confident in their skin, be energized, look amazing, figure out fitness and not be misled, like to me, that's such a big pull. And that motivates me, especially to like film killer podcasts and just knowing like maybe this will be the episode someone's like, you know what? I need a coach, I'm going to do this, and their life changes forever and they change someone else's life, or you share this podcast. So you can take this quote a lot of different ways, but I thought it was a really good one. It definitely got me inspired, and I think that was also my thoughts.
Yeah, my biggest thing is just, it's funny that Josh brought up the biking thing, because I've been thinking a lot about it too, because I'm like, man, it's hard to do something different. Like if you say, hey, Kyle, go to the gym 5 times a week, I'm like, I don't think about it. It's just, it's in my routine. It's in the calendar. It's what I do. But even that like biking example is funny because that extra friction, even like last week, his tires were a little bit deflated. I was just like, oh, I guess we're not going today. Cause I'm like, man, we have to drive all this way. It's going to be an hour plus. My legs are shot, whatever. And then like, it's funny because as I'm out there, I'm like, I'm so happy to be out here. The sun is shining. I feel great. And it's just funny because there are a lot of things that are hard, but they're rewarding, right? It's so much worth it. It's so much more worth it when you take that extra step, and, it might be a little bit uncomfortable to go drive or to go, you join a club of something and you have to go meet new people. It's a bit uncomfortable. And it's like, man, what have we been missing out on? There's been so many amazing moments. So I thought that was great. The other thought I had was, it was funny because after biking, now that we're making it a habit again, there was a nice ice cream shop near him, massive portions. Like they get a small, they'll fill it to the brim. And we were making jokes, and I'm like, you know what, that would be nice. But I'm like, it's just funny because I would be able to work around it. I might be over calories a little bit, but my biggest issue is that I don't want to create habits. So a lot of times when I go to do something, it's me thinking about how can a habit start? How can it start and just continue? Now, every single Wednesday when we film our podcast, we go biking. Subconsciously, I'm going to be starting to think about that ice cream cone. I love sweets, right? And so once again, there will be a time where, it was a couple months ago, Josh invited us over, brought the kids, we had a nice ice cream cone. It was an amazing experience. That's a very different story than on Wednesdays, I go biking and I get an ice cream cone. You guys see what I mean? And I've been still reading through Atomic Habits very slowly. Like before bed each night, I'll read a couple pages, nothing crazy. And I keep thinking about the power of habits. I keep thinking about how they start, how they form, the triggers, the rewards and the cues and everything that takes place. And so oftentimes when it comes to trying to do something new, I realize I'm like, okay, yes, I can have this cone. Yes, it'll be fine. It's just, I know what's going to start to take place. I know how the brain is wired. And I try to think about these things in advance. Even vacations, if what you do is as soon as you get on the plane, you get a shot, you get a drink, you do this. Subconsciously, that's what you do. That's the person you become. This is what we do. We go on a plane and we do this. So you have to start thinking of these things a little bit different. And I'm always thinking about it. I want to enjoy myself, but I also don't want to be that person that just ends up having drinks and having all this food for no reason. And I'm always thinking of these things. And that's my random thought for today.
Yeah, twice I mentioned it before, but I went bouldering at a gym. And I got pasta afterwards. And to this day, when I am done bouldering, I think of it. And that's what's tough. One of my clients, he knows who he is, and he's been crushing it. So shout out to him, but I won't dox him, I guess, like this. But after hockey, he's got a bad habit of grabbing a McFlurry from McDonald's or milkshake or something. And I'm like, bro, you got to cut this out. But the problem is you do it enough and you get that voice in your head, right? And it's like, it's just a milkshake. Just get a small, just have a little bit. You just burned a ton of gas. Like that little voice will peck at you, right? And if you do it enough, it's like a habit and that voice becomes stronger. So it is a good reminder too, to be careful of what habits you get into, because it's so easy for them to form and have the remnants of it. And you can create really bad habits. Like Kyle said, if for the rest of your life, every time you're on a plane, you get a drink in the airport and you get a drink as soon as you go on the plane. Like, it might seem like, oh, it's not a big deal. I only fly every few months or twice a year, but it will add up, right? There is a ripple effect behind that. So I think it's good to at least analyze and be aware. And it's not to say every habit you ever that you have to have needs to be positive, but you do want to analyze and say, like, what's serving me, what's not, what can I adjust, what do I value, what don't I? Like Kyle said too, like, it's a different experience if at the end of your cottage weekend that you go to once a year with your kids, you go out for that ice cream and you love it and you're on a boat, and fine, that's totally cool. Like, it's entirely different than after hockey just grabbing a milkshake, right? Like, you can see the difference there. So it's something definitely to reflect on, and unless you save the calories, I guess that is. But two exciting thoughts. The first, we're always trying to elevate. Like I said, there was some exciting ideas we had for this podcast. We want to make it better and better, and we appreciate all the support. We work really hard to keep this podcast ad free as well as free. Like, we don't do any like subscriptions to join it. We just want to give amazing value. So all we ask is that you could follow the podcast. It's easy for it to get buried, for you to forget about it. So do yourself a favor so you can hear more of this podcast. Make sure you're following on iTunes, Spotify, or you're subscribing on YouTube. Shout out YouTube gang. And because of this, like we said, we want to elevate, and we are always about growth. I was listening to a podcast today, just Gary Vaynerchuk's, and I was listening to hour one. It was a little long. I was on like a 10-minute walk just quickly before Kyle showed up with my dog. And I'm like, I want something quick. I want something snappy. And he had a couple 3-minute episodes. And I'm like, this is genius. And then I also thought how I love like just little inspirational 3-minute motivational videos. We're always talking about it. So I said to Kyle, we should do a Fired Up Fridays segment on this podcast. So starting next week, we're going to do it. We're going to keep them tight. They're going to be 3 to 5 minutes. They're going to be nice and short and snappy, especially as you go into the weekend, to just cover something we want to with a little bit of fire, a little bit of motivation. They're going to be solo, which is going to be really fun. We're going to spend some time thinking on a topic, and we're just going to spit some fire your way. It's going to be nice, digestible. It's going to be some extra energy, so you can up the volume from just 2 episodes a week to 3. We're going to experiment with it, see how it does. I think the reception is going to be incredible, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're fired up for that. Make sure this Friday you're ready to tune in, show some love, comment on it, Spotify or YouTube. Let us know if you loved it, and I know you will, but I'm fired up for this. Anything you want to add?
I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to do this right now. I'm just that when Josh brought it up, I'm like, I've been missing this, because on Instagram, if I do a Reels, I can only get 30 to 45 seconds with you guys. And I know a lot of people will tune out. I feel like a podcast, 3 to 5 minutes, I can spit fire. I can keep it real. I feel like I can inspire you for the weekend, and I can really get out what I want to say without adding on too much stuff that sometimes I'll want to add on, right? Like, I've been going live on Instagram 10 to 15 minutes, and that's been great. But I just think if I just sit there with a microphone, I just speak to it and just tell you guys the truth and just keep it real, that it can truly change your lives. So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're all about. So I'm really excited for this segment.
And the second exciting news is our 30-day lock-in challenge starts September 1st. Tuesday, September 1st, be ready. This is going to be our biggest challenge. Our last one was crazy and we didn't think we could do it bigger, but we have planned this to be the best, most epic challenge ever. So right off the bat, it's a 30-day lock-in. So this is 30 days for you to lock into what's going to help you grow. And this challenge is fully designed around helping you build better habits, helping you find inspiration, just helping you become a leaner, better, harder version of yourself. Because in the summer, let's be real, life happens, habits happen, and usually people start to get back into their groove September, or they don't, they end up failing, and then they say they're gonna do it in the new year and they fail again. This isn't gonna be you. This is your chance for 30 days to lock in for our challenge. We have some amazing criteria to help you get bigger, stronger, leaner, and be more accountable with your nutrition and eating healthier. And this is gonna be done over 30 days. Some fun things about this are, we are going to put the criteria out there. So even if you don't want to join as a client and officially join this challenge, that's fine. You can do that. What I will caution you with, though, is when there's no stakes, there's no accountability, there's no community behind you, it's not going to hit the same. When you know if you fail, me and Kyle are going to be there to be on you, to encourage you, and to help you grow and to help you find solutions during these challenge, like that's where you're going to see it through. And for any of our clients who participate in this challenge, once you do those 30 days, you're going to get a custom Colossus varsity shirt. These are amazing. They look so good. I'm so fired up to wear them myself, but of course I got to earn it. And for the first time ever, we're going all in. So with this challenge, you got to do 30 days straight. If you fail, you have to restart. Clients have the opportunity to restart to still get a shirt, but this just adds some real stakes. And once again, it's going to be built around sustainability. But I said to Kyle too, like, when have I been the most ripped, the most lean, the most fired up? And to me, that's when I've done like a little bit more. I've stretched myself, I've pushed myself. There's been no gray area. It's just been straight all in. And that's why this is the 30-day lock-in challenge. And what's even better about this, best transformation, we have a $2,000 cash grand prize. So $2,000 cold hard cash plus a guaranteed t-shirt to every client who succeeds in this challenge. Like, this is going to be off the charts. And if you've been feeling like you've been swimming sideways, this is your chance to join, because this challenge is going to be so much fun. It's going to be game changing. You're going to be blown away with the results. $2,000 cash grand prize. Like, take that in. And what's amazing is we're doing a 25% off sale for the first time ever. This is the craziest deal we've done. Early access only. This is only going to be available to, I believe, the 17th, Kyle?
Yeah, so 17th of August, or until 10 spots are full. Because of, the $2,000 cash prize, because of the criteria, I do believe these will go by very quick. So as soon as you hear this, just send us a message, say challenge. We'll send you more information. We'll hear more about your goals, make sure you're the right fit, and we'll get you set up to succeed for this 30-day lock-in challenge. I'm so excited. I'm so fired up. I'm already all in, and I hope you're ready for the challenge as well.
Give yourself this gift. This is a 30-day reset. And what's nice too, by you joining for early access, not only are you getting 25% off, which is insane. We've never done that before. You're getting 25% off, but I'm going to help you before the challenge. So once again, this is you having an active coach. So it's not just you doing a challenge. That's it. Goodbye. Thanks for signing up. I'm going to help you before that. I'm going to help you build some better habits. I'm going to get you on a better routine. We're going to learn about your goals. And I'm going to support you after that challenge, because I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've done a challenge before, it went amazing, and then after things just, you didn't know how to reset. What's great by you signing up now, our coaching starts with the 90-day accelerator. So you're getting the 90-day accelerator, getting access to the challenge. You're getting support for a month beforehand, support for a month afterwards. So you are literally ensuring your success for the rest of the year. You're going to put yourself in a flow. You're making a commitment to yourself saying, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm actually ready to level up and see results. So don't miss out on this. I don't want you to miss out on these spots and message me later and not have this amazing opportunity to join up at this deal. If you're hearing this, DM me right now on Instagram at ColossusFit, say challenge. I can't wait to have you join. And I want you to be that $2,000 grand prize winner. But now we're going to get into actually one of my clients who joined the program, who's been absolutely crushing it. This is my client, Mike. We just went through a cut and his photos speak for itself. Look on the screen right now. Dude is peeled. He's looking lean, mean, everything in between. It's absolutely crazy how peeled he has gotten. And we've done it in a very realistic time frame. We've done this with balance. He has an incredibly busy work life. And what's awesome about Mike is he's just a beast. We're in the gym, we're lifting, we're crushing it 5 days a week, but he also runs marathons. He does 100-kilometer bike rides. That dude doesn't stop. Like, he's just always hammering stuff. And it's a good example, because you might think, oh, I can't be in a coaching program. I can't work on my physique. I have this obstacle, that obstacle, this excuse. At the end of the day, they are excuses, because check out Mike. We have found ways to succeed week after week. We're getting better. We're building a better package. He's looking more lean and ripped than ever. He said he's been loving it during the summer. He's crushing his cardio endeavors as well, and he's still crushing it at work. You can truly find this balance and succeed everywhere. So a huge shout out to Mike. Like, just an example, hard work pays. When you show up for yourself, you make that investment, and you hold yourself to a higher standard, it's amazing how you can elevate and become that person. And Mike has been a perfect example of that. So head over to our Instagram, show some love. Well, now we're going to jump back into our mailbag with our second question. And that is, I've been eating quite a bit less and making good progress with fat loss, but I noticed my workout intensity is kind of low. What are some ways to bring back intensity in my workout?
Yeah, so a question I actually got asked recently, and this was from a client who has lost about 15 pounds now, which is awesome. And so I wanted to, share once again, what's awesome about the one-on-one check-ins is I'm able to dive into their specific journey, where they're at, see what their carbs are like, see what their calories are like, talk about supplements if needed and everything like that. But I did want to share some different thoughts in terms of intensity, right? Because when you do go through a fat loss phase, understandably so, sometimes energy can be lower, right? Your body wants a certain amount of calories, you're feeding it a little bit less, sometimes significantly less, depending on how big your deficit is. So with that, sometimes your energy can lack a little bit. Sometimes your workout intensity can be a little bit less intense, when you don't have as much food in your system and all that stuff. And so what I talked a little bit more about is trying to structure the meal around the workouts if possible. So I was sharing to my client the example of myself. So I go to the gym at 9:30 a.m. every day. The meal that I have, about an hour and a half or so right before is an amazing meal. It's my Greek yogurt. It's high in protein. There's lots of great carbs in there through berries and, just it's just a great meal. And so I find that is a great source of energy. And with a bit of pre-workout or caffeine as well, I find that even if my calories are lower, I'm able to still really just get an amazing workout in. And so I would say if you're able to kind of structure the pre-workout like beforehand to make it as optimized as possible, that alone for me, plus a motivational video, I'm excited, right? And this is where it gets a little bit different though, is your journey is different. If you're working out at 7 p.m. and you're not able to have any caffeine and your meal, you're not able to get a meal beforehand, like it might be a little bit more challenging. But I will say, if your intensity is a bit lower, if you can spend a little bit of time just working on your mindset and thinking, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to be very intentional, I'm going to go in, I'm going to watch Ronnie Coleman lift a couple plates, maybe 7 plates aside before my big leg day for a 3-minute motivational video, and you're very intentional, and maybe even like you find different things to be motivated about, whether it's like a strength goal that you're excited about. And that's where, even like, not to get too deep on this, I really try to spend a lot of time to help my clients set specific goals that aren't just fat loss related. Because if I have someone who wants to lose, and my client Matt's a great example, he's lost 45 pounds. He's gone from 285 to about 240 in the last 24 weeks, but he also wants to increase his bench press, and he has a bench press goal. So what's motivating about that is that it brings up the intensity subconsciously when you think, okay, I want to become stronger. I want to become better in the gym. I don't want to just reach his fat loss goal, but I also have a performance-based goal. So it motivates you and naturally brings up the intensity as well. So these are a lot of my different thoughts, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, there are some workouts, but always, to be fully transparent, where you're like, I'm just here and I'm just checking in and it is what it is. We want to try to avoid those, but they do happen depending on the day. But those are my intensity tips that I think can help you out naturally.
For most of you, the best thing you can do is do not disturb on your phone. Stop scrolling Instagram, stop looking at Love Island quotes or something in between, whatever it is people do. You can get on rabbit holes in your phone. Like, be present in the gym, lift heavy weights that force you to be present. If you're on your phone during a set, it's not easy enough. If you're talking to a friend while doing your set, it's not easy enough. When you're actually lifting heavy weight that's challenging you, it's hard to hide. It's hard not to have that intensity. My next biggest tip is track it. I have all my clients, they put a Y or no each day. Did they work out? Yes or no? Intensity on a scale of 1 to 10. What does this mean? It means something different from everyone. Most of my workouts are a 10. When they're not good, they're not a 10. I have some clients that put 11. I have some clients that never give themselves better than a 6. It's entirely different for everyone. But if you have some metric, and I actually have a formula in the sheet on a separate page that averages it out week after week, and you can notice if you're like, shoot, like my workout intensity has dipped the last 4 weeks. I'm feeling really run down. Maybe you need a deload if you lift really heavy. Like, you can get extra info from that data, or you can say, where am I going wrong? It's like, oh shoot, I realize what I'm doing wrong. I'm watching YouTube videos in between sets. And I see people doing this. I see people put up their phone or iPad and they're watching a Netflix show while they're working out. And it's like, are you really working out at that point? Like, I don't think I can be benching 315 and watching The Office on Netflix realistically. So I think it's a good metric like anything else. When you track it and you have a good idea and you're like, shoot, I thought I crushed it this week, but my workout intensity was a 6 every single day. Like, what am I doing? Like, oh yeah, this workout sucked. I cut it short. I wasn't in there long enough. So I think being intentional about it is where you can start to naturally improve it. You can work out with a friend that you know is better than you and more fit and more intense, because they will bring you up with them, right? You're going to elevate to that standard just the same. If it's one friend who doesn't want to try hard, they don't want to work out, they won't push you, you're probably not going to have a good workout if you work with that person. So I can be pretty selective with who I lift with. Like, I always like to kind of say, like, if you get a workout with me, you've earned it at that point, because to me, it's tough, right? Like, if I'm working out with someone and they don't let me lift. They're talking to me the whole time and they don't want to train hard. Like, doesn't fire me up. Whereas when I watch someone else kill a set at great intensity and I notice they're doing my weight or more than me, I'm like, what the heck, man? All right, let's get it. And you can kind of feed off that energy. So that can be a good bonus one and definitely something to consider. But more than anything, be intentional about that effort. Some of my clients, I'll actually make it a goal for them to improve intensity, and I'll give them some of these tips and some additional ones. And there's some fun things you can do. But like anything, if you optimize for it or you try to focus on how you can improve that thing, you can definitely see the result of it.
Yeah, even just analyzing that data is key that I didn't mention. I know Josh did, but like if you notice, okay, I'm in the gym, 2 days this week, I had to go at 7 a.m. They were 9 out of 10 intensity. And then the other two were at 7 p.m. because I had to wait for equipment consistently. And then it was just everyone talking to me and this and that. Like if you start to notice that data, you're like, okay, well now I can change it. Like now I can make the adjustments accordingly. Or if like the 2 days you were really low intensity, but then you went like straight from work, you had like nothing before, no food wise, and then you went right there, that could be another indicator as well, right? So it's nice to be able to pay attention to what's going on between like your most intense workouts when you're fired up and like notice the key differences between the ones that you'd give yourself like a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 and be like, how can I get myself to an 8 or a 9? A lot of people just go about life and they're like, I went to the gym anyways, it's all good. But the people who want to really succeed, when you pay attention to this data and make the adjustments necessary, that's how you get to the next level.
All right, now for a third question out of the mailbag, what are some of your high protein, low cal meal suggestions, especially come dinner time?
Yeah, this is a great one. And what I love about this question, it was actually from one of my awesome clients. I shared it into our Telegram group. I've got like a nice little chat with all my clients who are all on the same page, right? Everyone's trying to get to the next level. Everyone just wants a supportive community. And it's just amazing. People share tips, recipes, mindset things, and it's just great. So with that, this question is awesome because I know a lot of times people kind of get stuck. They're like, what do I have? Like, how do I succeed? And so what it really comes down to is the overall calorie allowance you have for the rest of the day. That's what's nice. And using like dinner as an example is like, it's a formula. You've got 300 calories left, or you got 800 calories left, or whatever it is. It's a puzzle piece to see how do I make it work. And so what I like to think about when it comes to a meal is just simply, where is my protein source coming from? That is always first and foremost, because if it has no protein, I don't want it. Where is my veggie coming from? And then what's my carb source, right? And there will be some things where there's fat, you'll maybe get like avocado in there. Some things will even have oil if you're cooking and whatnot. So that is totally fine. But I just think it's such an easy formula to think about when you look at a plate that is just so simple, right? And like an easy example would just be chicken breast with roasted potatoes and broccoli, right? Like obviously some people may think it doesn't sound too exotic, and some people could get bored of some things, and it's ultimately up to you and what you can make work. But what's cool is you can always make it based off of what you need, right? So if you need a lot more protein, you can have a double up of chicken breast and you can make that work, right? A couple other different examples would be extra lean ground beef taco bowls, right? There's different things like one of my staples, I really like salmon, but it is a little bit higher in fat, so it depends on the day. So sometimes I'd have salmon, that's the protein source, quinoa or rice, which would just be the carb source, and then like asparagus or green beans, right? Like you can kind of see the picture is just what we're trying to do here is just keep, and this is what I like to call simple, right? There's a lot of people who are way better cooks, way better planning, way better at putting stuff together. But when I kind of look at it, I feel like it's a lot easier to break it down into just like kind of simple things, especially if you're someone who maybe overthinks things or just will be like, oh, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to have nothing. Even when it comes down to it, even turkey burgers have just been a go-to for the last few years. So I'll have 2 turkey burgers, I'll have 2 buns. If I don't have the calories and the carbs for 2 buns, maybe I'll just put it onto 1, depending on the size of my lunch. But it's just all a matter of making it work based off of what I have available, planning ahead, and just really thinking about the protein first and then building from there. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I always just like to experiment. I try to have like a healthy fiber filled option. Obviously I lead with a protein option, and then you can kind of work in based off your calories, what you have. I just think everyone's so different. You can take dinner so many different ways and really just do what feels best for you. I'm being really big into stir fry lately. We like beef burrito bowl type things. I find tacos are always a reasonable option that you can kind of work the macros on. I know a lot of people might not feel that way, but lean ground beef is like a little bit more of a treat, obviously a little bit more caloric than like a chicken, but it is a good option. You can explore your turkeys, barbecue, you can always just kind of build off of that. So I think when you just go into it like a core of like, how can I have this balance and just kind of see what works for you and take your own spin on it. And a really good thing that's not played heavily enough, I think, is taking your favorite options and building healthier versions of them. If you love a burger, like find a more realistic thing. I actually, if Costco wasn't so crazy yesterday, I was going to film, we have like these keg burgers here, and I think they're like maybe 40 or 50 grams of fat a burger. Like they're pretty freaking intense. And then Costco, and like they're only like 20 protein, which is absurd. And then Costco has a top sirloin burger, which is actually phenomenal macros. I've mentioned before, I like that gauge of more protein than fat. Generally, that's how you know it's a better source of protein. They're reasonably caloric, and I'll have one of those in turkey burger, usually with 2 of the smaller buns. And I think it's like 800 calories for me to have like 2 solid burgers. And like, it's kind of a fun spin on it, right? Whereas I can have a really low quality burger, like I mentioned, on a massive bun, and it'll be 1,000 calories, worse macros, and like less filling. So it's always good to kind of reflect on that. Having a ton of veggie snacks has always been a fun one to me, but I loved all of Kyle's suggestions here, and there's definitely a lot of fun stuff you can experiment with.
Yeah. And like, even I remember we had chicken wraps, and I was just like, why didn't I think of this? Like, Josh, when we were in Florida, it was just so simple. You know, it was like pitas, there's some lettuce, there's some veggies, and then there's just like a ton of chicken. I'm like, I need to do this more often. But what's cool is there's no right way to do it, right? As long as by the end of the day, you've got your right amount of protein, you've got some really good foods in your system, you know, with some just healthy meals, and your goal and your number supports your goals. That's really what matters the most. It's about that, having that flexibility. Like, if I were to sit here and say, you can only have this meal, broccoli, chicken, and rice, like, I wouldn't be the right coach. Like, I wouldn't be telling you the right stuff. We have flexibility. There's no food off limits, and you are 100% going to succeed with the right plan, with the right numbers, and with the right accountability and support. Don't forget to join us for our 30-day lock-in challenge. Message us right away saying challenge. You'll get 25% off. There's a $2,000 cash grand prize, as well as a guaranteed prize upon completion. This is the greatest challenge we've ever done, and you do not want to miss out. Message us challenge. We can't wait to work with you. See you in the next episode.